Everyone. We were thinking there was going to be Shabbat live with no one
Shalom.
coming in. There's Ralph Button,
Oh my
Sue,
gosh. Hi
Nikita,
everyone.
Miriam, Chisholm, East Alabama, Tom, Jono from
Hey Jono. Good
Australia,
day.
the land down under. And everyone's coming in now. All right, we're going to start.
Let's give it another minute or two before we light the candles and
Yeah,
then we'll get into it.
and
Thank you all for coming.
yeah, thank
Hey
you all for
Scrubs, is
coming.
that you?
Okay, you better put up your music now, though. I mean, put that
Put this down.
put that screen down. You're still going to be good. Yep.
Okay.
We did a test with our buddy
Seth?
Seth, who's done so much for us, and it really worked well. Last week, just so you know, when we had YouTube and Discord up, it started feeding back, and we had no idea that you can't run both. So um, we worked on that. Thank you, Seth. You are such a great man. And Ross has got such a great son there, and everyone else is coming in. I think it's enough people to start lighting the candles.
Before we start, I thought maybe I had a thought that we should have kept a video of last week and we could have, Ross could have done a lesson on purgatory. You're all in purgatory and you're stuck listening to me on loop.
It's a Catholic thing. All right, so Patty, we're gonna turn it
Okay,
over
we're gonna
to.
light the candles.
They're gonna light the candles.
Okay, so this is kind of an unorthodox way of doing it. Y'all have seen it before. So here we go. Baruch atah Yehovah Eloheinu melech haolam asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lachlim neshel Shabbat.
Shabbat shalom,
Shabbat
everyone.
shalom, everyone.
We're going to do a song. Ralph, I'll get you up when we get rolling there. And Seth, if you could put the presentation up, just for the first page, and Patty's going to sing the song she sang last week because unfortunately it wasn't it didn't go over very well. So Patty is going to do Hallelujah by Leonard Cohen. Patty, go ahead.
Thank you. Thank you. I heard there was a secret chord that David played and it pleased the Lord. But you don't really care for music, do ya? Well, it goes like this: the fourth, the fifth, the minor fall, and the major lift. The baffled king composing hallelujah. Hallelujah, 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 hallelujah. Your faith is strong, but you needed proof. You saw her bathing on the roof, her beauty and the moonlight overthrew you. She tied you to her kitchen chair. She broke your throat and she cut your hair. And from your lips she drew the hallelujah. Hallelujah, 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 hallelujah. I think I I can hear y'all singing along with me. Well, baby, I've been here before. I've seen this room and I've walked this floor. I used to live alone before I knew ya. And I've seen your flag on the marble arch. And love is not a victory march. It's a cold and a broken hallelujah. 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 Oh, hallelujah. Hallelujah. Hallelujah.
Okay, you can turn the big speaker down. All right, well, someday I pray that we actually get to sing sing hallelujah to God Himself. Yeah, Patty's gonna be singing at the conference, and that thing's off, right? Good. And just want to go through a couple of slides, and I'm gonna get Ralph and anyone else that wants to talk. So this is just Shabbat welcome. We bring it into our house by singing and lighting candles. You don't have to do that. It's just something that we do. And Seth is going to be helping me all the way down in St. Francisville. So why don't we just get to the next slide, Seth? And it's just for everyone to remember the Shema. I had a operation this week, and I'm just going to tell you one little quick story about the Shema.
I want to sit by you.
My
Close that one out.
Yeah, you can close yours down if you like, if you want to do it this way. My doctor was Jewish. We spoke, and what happened was he rolled me into the operating room. I've been waiting for 3 hours, and he said, "Do you want to say anything?" And I started saying Shema Israel, and I said it the way he would say it, Adonai Eloheinu, and he said it with me. This man that's gonna operate on me. He said the Shema with me, and there were 19 people in the operating room, and they stared at us like we were crazy Jews. It really was a beautiful thing, and it's something to remember for us. You know, a lot of the Jews on the way into the Holocaust ovens said the Shema, and you know, there's a famous saying that was scratched on the wall. I still believe in the sun when it's raining, and I still believe in God when He's not here. So it's really powerful stuff. So the next slide really is just about the concept of the first commandment, which we did last week. But you know, God is God, and there's no other gods before us, and we're not going to make any other gods out of molten rock. And then there's blessings and curses, which are next. This is from the Moses scroll, so please don't, get upset. But I like blessed is the man, and I believe woman, who loves Elohim, his Elohim, and worships him alone and serves him alone. And cursed is the man who makes carved thing or molten thing the work of a sculptor's hand. So that's really beautiful. On to the next commandment. It's the one today. And again, this is in the order of the Moses scroll, so please don't get offended. But sanctify the seventh day, and you shall cease on it, because in 6 days I love that, I, God, made the heavens and the earth and all that is in them, and I ceased on the seventh day. Therefore shall you shall also cease, you and your animal and all that is yours. I am Elohim, your Elohim. And there are following blessings and curses. Blessed is the man who sanctifies the seventh day and ceases thereon, and cursed is the man who does work on the seventh day. And I want to talk about this I want you people to talk about your Sabbath realizations, and we're going to get there. But one of the things I said before, the world spun in a circle for me 7 days a week. And then all of a sudden, there's a reference point, and that's God's reference point, in my opinion. The next slide is something else that I wanted to just say. The book of Isaiah, the 25th chapter, and he will destroy in his mountain the face that's covering the covereth all people, and the veil that is spread over all nations. He hath swallowed up death forever, and the Lord Jehovah will wipe away tears from all the faces, and the reproach of his people will he take away from all of the earth, for Jehovah has spoken. And
That's
this
quite a promise.
this is something that we feel is a big promise in our life, that this madness will end someday. The murder and mayhem. And then I think there's just one final slide, Seth. And that's just, the UIWU creed. You should look at it. David Horowitz did this in 1944. I think it stands today. And I think it's a beautiful thing if you want to come and join UIWU. We're not a religion, we're a religious educational institution, but a lot of us have the same faith. And that's what we're here to talk about today. Seth, you can take that down now, and I'm going to go to show my requests. And I think, Ralph, you had a request up. Did you leave, Ralph? I'm sorry. I just wanted to get through our beginning. Is Ralph in there? Ralph, put your hand up again, brother. You there, Ralph?
I think he's trying to unmute,
Okay.
undeafen.
Undeafen?
A new definition.
Okay. Well, if anyone, Ralph's hand is up. Okay. Ross, can you help me get Ralph up on the stage? I don't see on my side. Or Seth. Hang on, Ralph. Usually it shows something that says that he's there. Shoot. Let me see. Hang on, Ralph. I'm working on it. Usually it comes up and says that I can bring someone on the stage. Do you see that? There he goes. Okay. And you got to unmute. Thank you.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Hey, Ralph.
Hey, Ralph. How are you doing?
Hello. I just wanted to say hi to everyone. I'm getting some feedback here, so I'm interrupting myself. But at any rate, Patty, that rendition was just great. It's always wonderful to hear that song. And David, we're glad that you're up and around. It's so nice to see you. It's been a rough week. I've been there.
For you too. You had a much rougher week than me, Ralph.
No. Well, we're on our road to recovery. So that's the main thing. But all I'd like to say is to greet everyone and say Shabbat Shalom. And I'm looking forward to seeing everyone at our upcoming conference next month.
Oh, that's great, Ralph.
Yeah, we are too. Can't wait to see everyone.
We can't wait. We're coming a little early to help Jono and Ross and Seth. I cannot tell you how much of a help Seth has been, and he's helping Patty and I do a video, which we got to talk to him about.
Yes, we got to get going on that.
And that's really a great thing. Ralph's book, I want to say, is really the book you should read about United Israel and the impact that David Horowitz had. An Orthodox Jew born, but became kind of a Protestant Jew, really, is what he said. You don't need all that oral stuff. And we kind of took on that. The story that James Tabor can tell you, but I won't tell it now, but he's in a library just looking up, religions in the United States, and he says this is an unusual one, and then Ralph kind of had a sideways going there, and they can tell the story. I don't want to ruin it, but it is a fascinating story how essentially y'all saved United Israel, or it would have probably just faded away. And it's a great institution that we're proud to be parts of. And being ministers, we do weddings and we do funerals and all this kind of great stuff. So I really look forward to seeing you, Ralph. And James is coming, and I'm hoping a lot of our friends are coming, like Ronnie Fulcher. A lot of new people are coming that we've never seen. Ross said, I can't wait to meet, and people. Hopefully, Morgan will be there with his wife. I think we heard that Clody's going to be coming, and Miriam is coming for the first time, and so we're just happy that happened, and I really am looking forward to meeting you all. And the other thing is, John Langberg and his wife, Lyndon, are making a lot of food, and other people are going to be.
Bridget is making blueberry cobbler, and
Yeah.
I'm just already drooling over that.
And was it Eric that was going to make something special for dessert, or was it? I forgot who was going to do that, but anyways, that's what we want to do, is to make sure that happens. And yeah, Eric is doing it. He has some special
Thanks,
things.
Eric.
Yeah, he has some goat based stuff, goat
Oh,
milk based
wow.
stuff, and helped his stomach. He was saying the other night.
Mhm.
And on these, when we talk afterwards with everybody after hours, we're getting to know Kiefer. He said, yeah. We're getting to know people and trading stories, and what I would like anybody, maybe you could start, Ralph, is how did you just from a Sabbath point of view, how did the Sabbath come into your life and Becky's life? His wife Becky is also on the board of directors of United Israel, or she's a secretary of United Israel, the official secretary, like in a corporate way. And she does all of our meeting notes. Can you say anything, Ralph, about how you got down this road, or anyone else like to talk about it? Carmel,
Well,
Chief.
first of all, I think I was getting some feedback there, or an echo. Is that it? Can you hear me now? Because I'm not getting it here.
Perfect.
It sounds good.
Oh, good.
Perfect.
So, no, I don't. I didn't have some epiphany about it, Dave. I just think over the years, as we, I was raised and taught and squelched in fundamental Christianity, and I think over the years in my long journey, as I studied my way out of it, if you will, and not to be derogatory about it, but
Yeah.
as I learned more about it, then because things like the Sabbath became paramount and fundamental, and we began to observe it, or at least acknowledge it, and then as
Yeah.
we moved and evolved, then of course that took on greater meaning. So
Sure. And you could tell the different levels that people celebrate it. Some people are very, very strict and to the point. We turn on lights and stuff in our house. We're not at that level, but we try not to do any work or do anything, and unless there's some emergency or something of that nature. And I know many Jewish doctors work on the Sabbath if they're in an emergency room or something like that. Firemen have to do that, and that's a beautiful thing. I'm sure you'll have a lot to say, Ralph, when you get to the and do you know what your talk's going to be about this year, or haven't you even put that together?
well, I'm working on it. I'm working on it with Seth and Ross. Yeah, I have about half of it done, and I'm looking forward to presenting this year. And we are having a
Hey.
number of new people, and I want to
Yeah.
bring in some of the old. But basically, what I'll be showing, I will have a slide presentation, and what I will be showing will be highlights that about 70% of it has never been shown publicly before, and it has to
Wow.
do with UIWU
Wow.
and with David's long career. So there's a lot of research gone into it. It's different than before. So,
Great.
but that's where I am on it.
Well, and Ralph also writes articles for the Times of Israel. We post them up here, and he's been very involved in the understanding the political situation in Israel. So that's a beautiful thing, and it's just been, I say what Ralph Bunton is. He's a true Southern gentleman in every sense of the word, and he. He's just a great man. We've been honored to know him. Been to Israel with him, been to New York with him, and at many of these meetings. Well, thank you, Ralph.
Thanks, Ralph. Looking
Thank you,
forward to
Dave. Thank you. I appreciate it much.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. Okay. Ross, are we good with the changing of the settings? I got a text from you. Seems like things are good now. Yes. Okay. Thank you. And Ronnie Fulcher said, trying to get a channel locked. I see you there, Ronnie. You good? There's a chat you got to pop out. Anyways. All right. I would like to hear from
Here's someone up.
Clody's the speaker.
Hey,
Great.
Clody.
Hey, Clody. Well, she's muted. Hi, Clody.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
We can. Shabbat shalom.
Hey, Shabbat Shalom. Thank you very much. I loved your voice, Patty.
Thank you.
Thank you. So I wanted to tell you something about my Shabbat and my way of trying to keep Shabbat. So since I was initially trying to read myself out of whatever religion or organized religion that I had, since the beginning I understood that I tried to keep all the feasts, the biblical feasts.
Yes.
And with them, I understood that Shabbat was even more important because it was not only on the feast,
Right.
but it was on the 10 Commandments as well.
Right.
So I understood that it was very, very important. And so I have a background as an actress, theater actress.
Oh.
And yeah, and I had many of my months were on performances, giving the performance on Friday and Saturday and Sunday.
Of course.
So it was very difficult for me to keep the Sabbath. So I prayed a lot. I still think that Saturday is probably the best day. I mean, Friday until Saturday. At least that's what I studied.
Yeah.
Mhm.
But I think that since I was in this kind of job, I understood that I couldn't keep a perfect Shabbat on Friday until Saturday. So I tried to pray, and I tried to make another deal. And I tried to keep one of the 7 days of the week. And perhaps that is because I started to understand that Shabbat means the Sabbath. So it might work one of the 7 days. That was my thought for this second commandment. Shabbat Shalom, everybody.
Shabbat Shalom. Oh, that's very
You
understandable.
did the best you could. I think
Yeah.
that's awesome.
That's a great thing,
Yes, you're
Clody.
so on.
Well, also, we're not brought up with the Sabbath even in mind. There were the so-called blue laws, and there was a Sunday Sabbath that many Christians, especially the early Christians, had. Um, and so people couldn't work on Sunday, they couldn't buy alcohol on Sunday, and things of this nature. And so there was a thought about it, but then that kind of faded away and became something much more. It became much less even discussed. I think I remember for me and Patty, you know, it's been 40 years, but I remember this is one of the Ten Commandments. Why wouldn't we be doing this? Uh, and it was stunning, and it was scary when we first started considering this. And we had a lot of people, the what were they called, the Messianic Christians, which that just was never us. Eric, I can invite Eric to speak, and so I there he goes. Hey, I think I did it, or I don't know. Thank
I
you,
think you did it.
Eric John Nagel. Hey, Eric.
Yep, he did it, or you did it, one of the two.
How
Hi,
you doing?
Eric. Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom. Yeah, I was just going to say, yeah, it was interesting in my coming up too, but as far as Saturday as the Shabbat, it's always a different struggle for lots of folks, but always seems to be the first thing that really turns you around. And if you accept the Shabbat, then you're on the right path. And most people, once they do that seriously,
Yeah,
they're going to stay on it and they'll still be there 20 something or whatever years later. But as far as people with jobs on that,
yeah.
that's a very difficult thing. Two little stories. One, I was working at North Lake Christian School, and I was for 17 years
Hmm.
and lived on campus.
Oh,
So really early on, I kind of applied and got the job as a Christian. And by the time school year started, the next year or the year after, I can't remember for sure,
mhm.
I was not calling myself that. And
Wow.
they were fine with it. They knew I was more scriptural than some of the parents of the Christian kids that were coming there.
Uh-huh.
But that all worked out well, except they wanted me to do stuff on Saturday to take care of things. And I talked to the coaches and they said, well, we don't need you. And I talked to the director and they said, no. I said, if there's an emergency, don't hesitate. If
Right.
somebody comes and they're locked out,
Yeah.
electricity goes off, the sewer plant goes offline, I'm right here.
Yeah.
That won't bother me one bit.
Yeah.
Uh, at that same time, where our group was getting going, we had a young lady from a town west of here, and she was a hairdresser. Of course, Saturday was her biggest day of the week.
Yeah.
She prayed and prayed and prayed. Our Father said, Sabbath is Saturday. There's no other day. She
Hmm.
shut down and opened on Monday. And in Louisiana, anyway, all the beauty shops are closed on Monday because they're worn out from Saturday.
Yeah.
Guess what? She made
Oh,
twice the money that she ever
Yeah.
did
wow. That's awesome.
on
Yeah.
Shabbat.
Yeah.
That'll prove,
Yeah.
I mean, you can do it. All you got to
Yeah.
do is have the whatever fortitude to do it.
Yeah. It,
It,
it, it's tough. It's
yeah.
tough. It's not easy, Eric, because
Oh,
you were given so many years doing it the other way, and
right.
um, you know,
And we don't live in a country that supports it. Like in Israel,
no.
you can go to certain areas and
Yeah,
everything
right.
shuts down Friday afternoon,
Yeah.
and we
Yep.
don't have that here.
I
Me.
remember we drove our car through the Orthodox section of Jerusalem on
Oh,
Shabbat, and they threw rocks at us,
yeah.
which I
I
think
was
is
going
good
to
work
say.
on
I was
Shabbat.
going to say the way I believe you were reading from the Shapiro
Yeah.
uh, uh, Moses'
Yes.
scroll, if you will.
Yeah.
Uh, the way that's worded to me, or at least that translation is you are in charge of you and your people and whoever works for you. You are
Mhm.
not responsible for the pork eaters next door or the ones
Right.
that don't keep it the same way you do. It's
Yeah.
just like I never talk bad about who takes the oral law as
Right.
their way to do things,
Right.
but I will certainly never tell anyone to do it that way.
Yeah.
To do
Right,
it the way
Yeah.
Scripture reads, and now that we
Yes.
have the confirmation, I think, of number 2 being
Yeah.
it,
Yeah.
it's the 7th day, and it's for
Yeah.
you and your household to do it the way you see fit. There's no
Absolutely.
other rules. They didn't
Yeah.
add 325 or whatever it is that the rabbis added to that, which is
Yeah.
all man-made, and
Yeah.
bottom line to my mind, being a historian and librarian's son,
Mhm.
is that all those extra ones are adding to the Torah, and he
Yeah.
says not to add to the Torah, so
I think
I totally agree
Amazing.
with that. Yeah.
this is great. This is beautiful because we named our first son Daniel. My judge is El, and
Amen.
no one else can judge you, and I love that name because of that. And the issue is to not criticize other people because you just never know. One of the things I think Ross has talked about, we have changed our views so much in the last 40 years.
Oh,
Um,
yeah.
when I first read Dr. Tabor's Restoring Abrahamic Faith, it had a very kind of Christian bend to it, and then it kept moving towards more of a Hebraic vent,
Right.
and he's going to be releasing it on April 9th. So I'm very excited to see what the latest is.
There's going to be copies at the conference, I
Yeah,
think, right?
I think he said he was going to have it there.
Okay,
We shouldn't say because he's not talking here, but
right.
I know that there's going to be I know that Betty's going to be bringing her book, right, Betty?
Yep.
And
yep.
I know that Ralph will have his book there, and Ross will have his book. Can you give me that book? And Ross is working on this series, and I love this, the Genesis tablet, and it's done. I believe it's with ASV. Ross, I might be correct. But you have the page where you can write next to it your notes, and you don't kind of ruin the writing. So I really love this. I want all 5 of them before I go. Yeah, James said it will be out and have copies. So you
Awesome.
you
I
can get
think
it.
I heard that, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, and ASV, and I love the ASV because it used
Yep.
Jehovah. And here's another one I wanted to throw out, and I'm sure you all kind of ran into this. The first time that I remember going to the and this is not a joke. I went to the library. I was young. I was in graduate school, and the librarian was a Jew named Abraham. I telling you the truth. And I said, I want to look up on the name of God. And he got nervous. He put me in a special study room, and I had all these Hebrew grammars and all these Bibles. I didn't know what I was doing. No one taught me
No
anything.
internet.
And then I find out that in the Tanakh that the name was used 6,800 times or something of that nature, and I'm like, I cannot believe that they covered God's name, and they could use Lord. They could use Lord for Jesus, and they could use Lord for Jehovah, and that's blasphemy to me. And so that was my first another wonderkin moment where I'm like, and I have to come back and tell everybody, because I was leading the Bible study, and I'm like, I found something, and my dad goes, "What is it?" And my dad just said, "Oh, this is great," because God then had a name to us, and so those kinds of things were revolutionary to our belief, and we became a little group of Noah. We were like Noah. I don't mean Noah hides. I mean, like, there was no one around here that believed like us until Patty just one day called up James Tabor about the last name Tabor because her biological father was a Tabor, and and then they got talking about religion, and James sent us the Abrahamic faith, right?
Yep.
And then it started, and then he kept saying, "Come on down to United Israel." I'm like, "We're not joiners," because we went through enough of the joining. We're like, "We're not joining." Sorry, James. And then
Finally, we went.
now we're on the board,
I
and we met
know.
all these great people like you, and also people have come and gone through our time here at United Israel. And I'm sure if you talk to Ralph or James or Ross, many people came and come and go, and that happens.
Yeah.
But I'm just great to meet you guys, and I would love to share some stories when we're down there. I speak a lot, but I'd like to hear everyone else's stories, and that means the audience, please raise your hand. And we got a hand raised, do we? I think we do. No hand raises.
Oh,
I would
it's
really,
not-
yeah, you just get on there and talk like Eric did. He just
don't
told
have
us
to
some
show
really
your face.
yeah, and it could be non-attribution. Whatever you say here stays here. We're not trying to, but I'd love to hear these stories. I know there's a lot of them out there. Okay, Tom is going to speak. There he goes, Tom. Okay,
Oh
Tom.
boy.
Hey, Tom.
Hello,
Hey, Tom.
Shabbat Shalom. I've been
Yeah.
listening to you guys a long time. I feel like I know you. Ross, I've been listening for years, following Jesus out of Christianity.
Beautiful.
For me, I many years ago, 1988, spring of '88,
Wow.
I got sober, and one of the first things God showed me was the Sabbath. And I remember it was World Tomorrow. Herbert Armstrong, Worldwide
Yes,
Church of God.
we
And that
used
was
to
one-
watch that.
Yeah.
And that was one of the first things he showed me was the Sabbath. And then I started going to Worldwide Church of God. And at the time I worked second shift at Pratt and Whitney, and a machinist.
Wow.
And then and I was going to the church for a while. And then I found out that the Sabbath starts at sunset.
Yeah.
So I
Yeah.
had to get off second shift, right? So I started taking every Friday off. And then they finally put me on day shift. I
Oh,
thought
that's
they were going
great.
to fire me, but they didn't fire me.
Was that
Hi,
was
Ross.
that Pratt,
Nice
was
to-
that Pratt and Whitney in Connecticut?
Well, I'm actually Florida.
Oh, Florida.
West
Okay.
Palm Beach. Yeah.
Oh yeah,
And,
I know that. I know that facility.
It's been a long journey. It's been a
Wow.
long journey, and like you guys, or at least like you guys come across, it's a learning. I get today people who think they know when you start thinking you know, that's when the danger starts. Because
Yeah. Yeah.
I think of how many things I've been wrong about,
Yes.
and the idea that I'm not wrong about things today, it's pretty
Amen.
arrogant, right?
Yeah. No, we're always, one of the things I loved that I was told that David Horowitz said, because I never met him, he said, when the Messiah comes, the Jews and Christians would be surprised. I love that kind of attitude, that we really don't know a lot of things, but the Decalogue faith, Tom, is the 10, and it's pretty good to get that. And so I'm so glad that you chose to talk. Are you coming to the conference?
I would love to, but that's not possible. My wife's
Okay.
on oxygen, and it
Oh,
makes it
I'm
difficult to
sorry.
travel. And I
Yeah.
wouldn't want to leave her here alone.
No, and you can ask for us to pray for her at any time, because people were praying for me in my operation this week. It was a simple operation, but I hadn't been put under in 47 years, so I was a little nervous. And the last time I was put under, it didn't go well. But I think prayer does affect things, and if you ever need prayer, just ask this group.
Absolutely. I do want to say one thing. This is something I stumbled into a few years back that I think you might find interesting. And you may be aware of, but science, they discovered a giant magnetic wave. Let me just read. It's an ESA swarm satellite mission has detected a completely new type of magnetic wave that sweeps across the outermost part of Earth's outer core.
Yeah.
And how often you think that it happens? every 7 years.
Ah,
Magnetic,
that is
they discovered a giant magnetic wave that encircles the globe
yeah.
every 7 years.
Wow.
So you think maybe the land Sabbaths, there might be something to it.
Yeah.
You
No,
know,
I
it's
think there
just,
should be,
there's
and
so much
we know.
evidence.
Yeah, I'm gonna get Karen up here in a minute.
Seven's an
Well,
important
Tom,
number.
thank you,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
Tom,
Thank you.
we
Thank you.
appreciate you coming up.
I'm trying to find the button to push here. Sorry.
That's
Okay.
okay.
Leave the stage. Okay, there you go. Thank you.
have a great
Shabbat
day
shalom.
today.
Talk.
Thank you.
And I think I got Karen is right. It's the
Yep.
Oregon Freebird. Karen, how you
Yeah.
doing, Karen?
Hi, Karen.
Good.
Shabbat shalom.
So Shabbat Shalom to you guys. So I thought I'd discuss with you a little Sabbath war I'm having with a family member.
Uh-oh. I'm
Oh.
sorry.
It's not that bad. Most people I don't really care. I know they don't agree with me. I'm not even going to bring it up. They do
Right.
them, I do me. I'm not even going to discuss it. So,
Yeah.
I do have one family member who I'm very close to, who has kind of been on this journey with me. Anybody that knows me probably knows who it is. And this person, how do I want to start it? A while back ago, we've been kind of on this journey together.
Mm-hmm.
And started keeping Sabbath together and everything.
Yeah.
And then a while back ago, for whatever reason, I don't know, she listened to some bad information and decided that Sabbath was only once a month.
Wow.
I never heard
Yeah.
of such.
Exactly. And so, they wait for the new moon, and then they count 7 days, and that's it. It's a new
Yeah,
moon. It's a lunar thing,
Yeah,
I've heard
yeah,
of that now.
yeah.
But it's still kind of their own thing, because it's not even following what the other lunar people follow. It's completely different.
Right.
And so
Mm.
I'm just like, I told her I thought that was dumpster theology. And,
Oh.
we kind of, and she's like, oh, we've agreed to disagree.
Yeah.
We're not going to be at odds about it. And we haven't really discussed it for like 2 years now. We haven't even discussed it.
Yeah.
Well, I'm supposed to go spend a month with them here at the end after the conference on Maui, and she wanted to take me to Upcountry Farmers Market, and I said I'm not going. And that brought it up again, and and I said, well, give me who are you listening to? What kind of reputable person are you getting this information from? And it's Messianic cult leaders and Black Hebrew Israelites and 12-year-olds. I'm like, no, this is not reputable information. They don't know what they're talking about.
Oh, man.
So I don't know.
Well, yeah, that is
sent a
difficult.
little note to what a certain scholar that we both respect, asked him to make a video about it. I don't know if he will, but we'll see. Because she's not going to
Karen,
listen to me.
sometimes people like that, they go off on a wild direction, but
Yeah.
they end up, eventually coming back. And
Mhm.
I
Yeah,
hope that's the
that's my
case with
hope.
your friend.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that love and not judging them, and those are hard things.
Yes.
I understand that. But
Being patient.
you have us, Karen, and
Right.
this group of people, and there's others like us, I'm sure. I'm sure that you at least have that. And like I said, we were kind of like a group of Noah over here. Nobody
Right.
they thought we were crazy.
Do you have other people now, though, that you can share Shabbat with, or?
No.
Oh,
Yeah.
Just you
Well,
guys.
that's why we started this. No, we started this
yeah, we
because
started this.
the Shabbat is one of the 10, and then the Moses scroll, it's number 2. And as Clody was saying, even in the description of the holy days, before the 7 holy days, Shabbat is on top. And many
Yeah.
people
First
do
thing
this.
God blessed, isn't it?
Yeah, and the first thing that God said was good.
Was holy. It was,
Was
good.
yeah, was the Sabbath day, and that's why I love that. It's a beautiful thing. But are you coming? You're coming this year, Karen.
Yeah.
Oh, great.
Oh, good. It'll be nice.
Well,
to
we
meet
can't
you.
wait to see y'all.
Yep. I'll be there. It'll be fun to see everybody.
All right.
Yes,
Thank you.
definitely. Thank you for joining us tonight.
All
We're
right.
getting Ronnie Fulcher up.
Get off there.
That's always interesting.
Hey, Ronnie.
Ronnie, you coming up? Did we get him? Ronnie Fulcher. Let's see. There he is.
There he is.
Hey, Ronnie. Hey there, Ronnie.
Hey,
How
can y'all
you
hear
doing?
me?
Yeah,
Yes.
we can hear you.
Yeah.
Good, good. Well, Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat shalom, Ronnie.
Hey, guys. Just a little something. Let me tell you, when I started on this journey back in the 90s, I used to drive from my house to David Davis's, which is like 9 hours for Shabbat.
Yeah.
I was hungry,
Yeah.
and I think that's the biggest key right there is like how hungry people are. And the more hungry they get, the more they're going to do things. I mean, David Davis said one thing to me. He taught me, he said, be happy where you are.
Yeah.
And then, because you know yourself, we didn't change overnight.
Yeah.
We
Right.
all changed in stages. As we learned more of Torah, we started doing things.
Right.
And the main thing I think we wanted to do was to please God. We're not in this to please men. We're in the, what does God want us to do? And by observing, it says, about the Sabbath, also we got to recognize what it is, right? We have to recognize it is the Sabbath, and then start doing things. Just like you talking about, David. And sometimes in my job, I had emergencies. I had to leave on a moment's notice because, hey, sometimes life or death situations, we had to go.
Yeah.
But just like someone mentioned a while ago, I'm sorry, I forgot the name, but they changed their lifestyle to do what they wanted, needed to do for the Sabbath. Was it Clody, I think, said that?
Yes.
And other people do the same thing. It's just, but it takes time. You just don't do it overnight because you change the whole lifestyle. Because we're in the Bible Belt.
Yeah.
There's not a lot of Sabbath keepers around my house that I know of. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
it's just something you learn to do, and you just do it and learn to be happy with yourself. I think that's what we need to do there.
Yeah, I think one of the things that has been spoken of in this group is that you have to love yourself and respect yourself, and in doing that, to follow the commandments, and that God created you it meant something. He loved you. He cared for you, and that goes for all the people on the planet. I'm not special in any way.
Oh, yes, you are.
No, but I'm just saying, we're all before the Almighty Creator. You just got to go out and look in your backyard, and those stars aren't always stars. Sometimes they're galaxies with hundreds of millions of stars in them, and the size of the universe. If you want to start talking about Jehovah, forget it. It's insane the power that the Almighty had to create this entire universe. And we kind of see like little ants here on this earth, and we see something like, oh, that's a big truck. That ain't nothing. And our sun is a small star compared to the other stars. There's stars that would make that. So my point is that, when I look up there, sometimes I just say, wow, we're in that's another level of many levels above me, the Almighty Creator. Yeah.
David, I look at it one time and somebody said this to me, and I take it to heart. We're trying to look at an infinite God and a finite mind.
Yeah.
That's the way I look at God, because my head hurts sometimes.
Sure.
How big God is. I can't comprehend it, so I just got to take it stages at a time.
I agree. It's kind of like when you get up in an airplane, you're at 40,000 feet. It doesn't seem that high in a sense. At 100 feet or 200 feet, it seems much higher. But when you look at the bigness of the universe, you say, yeah, that's the universe. Oh, no, baby. It takes 9 minutes for a ray of light to get here from the sun. Forget about where those are. Anyways, Ronnie, I can't wait to see you, and I always be so grateful for you coming up when my son passed away. You drove all the way up from Mississippi, and I'll never forget that, Ronnie. I appreciate that.
Well, we're kind of like soul brothers. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah, one was a Baptist preacher, and the other was a Catholic, a disheartened Catholic kid.
Now I was a
God
Pentecostal
bless you.
preacher.
Pentecostal. I'm sorry. I
That's
didn't mean
even
to.
worse.
I didn't mean to. I didn't mean to insult you.
No, it's fine. It's fine. I'm just saying,
Eh,
it's just a whole lot of difference there.
All right.
It's all good,
We're
brother.
gonna
We
get.
do.
Thank you, brother.
Thanks, Ronnie.
I'm going to
Have a
get
great Sabbath.
Eric John Nagel up, and then after that we're going to get Betty up. There you go. Hey, Eric.
I was just going to add that wherever you look, you're seeing our Father.
Yes.
And yesterday, I spent 4 hours wandering around the Audubon Zoo in New Orleans,
Oh,
and I have to say it's probably one of the best ones in the world. Usually
wow.
in the top 5 in the United States on all these polls that they take.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just the research and how they help keep some of the species alive.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that they keep changing and adding and everything. And yesterday, all these critters that our Father makes, just like us, other
Yeah.
than the soul added on,
Right.
we're out playing and having a wonderful time in all this beautiful weather we had yesterday. Of course, it's been storming all day here today, but
Okay.
phenomenal to look at those beasts
Oh,
and
yeah.
see what it's made. Much
The
less
diversity. Yeah.
yeah,
The
fantastic.
diversity, and if you think those just came out of the ground from one cell, that's horrible. So
I'll agree to one thing. They all came from the same dust that made us, just like
yes.
everything stardust.
Yeah.
As
Yes.
Joni
Yeah.
Mitchell's song said,
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
we are
No,
all stardust.
no, and that's the creator's power. He can make us out of stardust.
Yep.
Poof.
Amen.
And
Isn't it amazing too, Eric, and everyone, that animals are included in the
Yeah.
Sabbath commandment?
yeah.
I just think that God cares about these animals.
Yeah. We have half wolves here
The
called
reason we have to
Siberian
keep
Husky.
getting up is because our animals don't recognize that it's a Sabbath, and
Yeah.
they can rest if they want to, but they don't want to.
Yeah. All right.
I
I'm
got
gonna
you.
invite. I'm gonna
Yeah.
invite
Thanks,
Betty up given to talk.
Shabbat shalom, Betty.
Hopefully I got her. Hey there, Betty.
Hey, can you hear me?
Yeah, we
Yes,
can
hi,
hear you.
Betty.
Oh, good. It just said I didn't have permission to speak, so I wanted to make sure. I never want to speak out of turn.
No,
So,
how you doing? And there's the book that you're gonna be talking about right there, Betty.
oh, yes, all those hidden sparks.
Yeah.
And you know what? They're all around us. Well, first, let me say Shabbat Shalom,
Shabbat shalom.
because there are sparks in Shabbat, and
Yes.
there were sparks in Patty's music, and in
Oh, thank
lighting
you.
the candles, and I see
Yeah.
sparks in your eyes. I
Yeah.
I just love the whole idea of all these little um, hints, maybe kisses from Hashem that He gives us. I think we look into each other's eyes and we can see Him, and we look all around and we can see Him. Everything. I'm getting all emotional here, but everything is linked to Him. Everything.
Oh,
And
absolutely.
I wanted to say too that, you were talking about the Shema, and as Roger was, I knew he was dying. I mean, I said the Shema over and over and over again, holding his
Yeah.
hand.
Yeah.
And I just, that's the Jewish way, but it's the way of
Yeah.
anyone who truly loves the Creator,
Yeah.
because He is. He's everything to us.
Yeah. Yes.
And I remember years ago, I was having a surgery. I had a macular hole in my eye, and they didn't know whether I would see afterwards,
Oof.
after the surgery. And my blood pressure is usually very, just fine. I've even had nurses ask me if I'm alive, so low. But it rose so high. And I just kept saying the Shema over and over and over again. And finally, it went down. So, and And then I wanted to say, Patty, you posted something on Facebook today about, I think it was from Proverbs 31, a woman of valor, that's her
Oh, yes.
dignity and strength, whatever. Well, at every Sabbath, Roger and I would sit down at our table, and I still set it for two people. And I say the blessings. I light the candle. I do 2 glasses of wine, and tonight I drank both. But only small glasses. But
Right.
we Sabbath has been special to us for many, many years, since 1989. And one of the things Roger used to always read to me Proverbs 31.
Yeah.
And then when he got so that he couldn't really speak very much anymore, he would just pat my knee and say Ashes Kyle. And that is a goodly wife who can find. And
Oh,
so,
that's
I mean, I just have so many special memories.
Yeah.
And I praise the Father. I praise the Creator for everything that He's given me from the time I
Yeah.
wake up until I go to bed.
Yeah.
So, and
Yeah.
anyway,
That's
I
that's a
could go on and on. I wrote a whole book about it, so I'm
I
going to
know.
stop.
No, that's okay. And Betty, my mother, who really took to the Torah faith, she would go into restaurants and say, "Why are you people eating pork?" I'm like, Ma, we don't need to." But
Yeah.
mother died on Shabbat. Between
Mm,
Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur, she died on Shabbat, and she went to her final
well,
resting. And she was a woman who was a leader, and
She was a woman of valor.
yeah,
Definitely.
she
yes.
came up and she was born in the 20s, and she became eventually the chairman of the board of a $2 billion financial institution. I mean, the stuff that
Mm,
she
In
had
her 80s.
till she was in her 80s, the stuff that she had to go through, it was like I had an executive of as a mother. I mean,
sure.
she wasn't the normal mom, and my dad was a crazy guy who built homes and stuff, and he'd let us get away with bloody murder. But they all did one thing about faith. We had faith, and we read the Bible, and
And seeking the truth.
we were always seeking the truth. And
Mm,
I'll tell you one little thing about your brother, James. Um, eh,
just one?
well, there's a lot, but this is
No,
this
I'm
is one of those
joking.
coincidences. The first guy we read the Bible with was named James, and he was from what's that church you guys went to?
Church of
Don't-
Christ.
Church of Christ.
Don't say cripples.
Church of
No,
Christ, yes.
please
Okay.
don't interrupt. He would come to the house, and he'd open up the Bible and we'd read it, and he would say, "Don't believe me, read the Bible." And my dad and me,
Yes.
and so and then when I met James Tabor, he was from the Church of Christ in the very beginning, and he had that same attitude
Mhm.
about
What does the Bible say?
what's the Bible say, and it's kind of been
Right.
two people that were very influential in my life, and then
And then Ross comes along.
then Ross came along, and
Same thing.
there's been so many people. There's other preachers that I listened to that taught me things too. I'm not saying that there wasn't, but I like Herbert W. Armstrong because I thought I just loved the way he talked about things, and there was a lot of interesting things he said. And we used to live in L.A. In our evil music days, and we playing that rock music, and we'd watch him, wouldn't we, on a little
The World
TV,
Tomorrow.
The World Tomorrow or
Something
something.
like
We never
that.
went to a church, but we listened to him all the time, and it was just totally interesting. And then we would read our King James Bible, and that one, and we like many of you people, we went down all these paths to get to where we are. Anyways, it's a beautiful thing. I'm so grateful that we
Mm.
have met you, and the fact that you're related to James. I mean, it's such a small little,
Yeah.
and Ross's mom, and I mean, the whole circle is kind of really small with everybody here. It's I think God has blessed it because we're looking for the truth, and we're willing to leave everything else behind,
Right.
kind of
Well,
like
I think,
Abraham did, right?
yeah, we're all connected. We're
Yes,
all connected, and we had no idea
right.
that all of this would happen. But another thing about James you may not know is that he and I were both born at the same hospital 3 years apart on a Sabbath on Rosh Chodesh Adar. I was born Rosh Chodesh Adar 1. He was
Yeah.
born Rosh Chodesh Adar 2.
Wow.
And we have always felt a special connection, not just brother and
Right.
sister, but just something special. And,
Sure.
this month, in fact, the new moon is coming up again for the
Yeah.
second month of Adar, but it's called, in traditional Judaism, a pregnant month. And so
Yeah.
it's a real time of rejoicing.
Yeah.
So,
Well, this year my Gregorian birthday is on Purim, and the year I was born on Purim. And so
well,
I'm usually in Jerusalem celebrating, but not this year. But we're going on May 27th. We're so excited. If you don't see us after that, it's been nice knowing you.
oh, come on.
We're
No,
we're bringing some help. Well, I'm going to bring up Charles, East Alabama, and Shabbat Shalom, Betty.
Thank you,
And
Betty.
thank
Shabbat
you for
Shalom, and
coming.
shalom.
thank you. Thank you
God
very
bless you.
much. Thanks.
Love you,
God bless
Betty.
you too. Love
Bye.
you.
Okay, there is East Alabama or Charles Sutton, I believe, right? He's muted. There he goes. Hey, Charles.
That's me. How are you doing, Dave?
Good, good. I'm feeling very grateful that I don't have a umbilical hernia anymore, but it does, it's still I'm wearing a girdle for the first time in my life. I'm
Better keep
okay
it
though.
up until that is, but
I'm very grateful. I'm very grateful that I went to a state of the art facility, and it looked like I was going into the sick bay in Star Trek or something. And they used the Da Vinci robot, and they did great work. And I'm just grateful that I could get that kind of medical attention. And so I feel grateful that people were saying prayers for me, and to have you all here. There's very few people that we can speak like this to, because they in one religion or another, or they're atheist or agnostic, and so there's just not that many of us. So anyways, what's on your mind tonight, Charles?
I just so thankful to start Sabbath with y'all. That is
Well,
such a blessing.
Mhm.
thank you for
Yeah,
being with
Yeah,
us.
thank you.
I
Thank,
I just think starting Sabbath with y'all is stabilizing me a little bit. Maybe
Yeah,
not, but maybe.
yeah,
I just but everybody. It seems like that if you're going to be separated, the
yeah,
Sabbath and keeping the Sabbath will separate you.
yes,
And
mm,
it's not a free ride.
mm,
A lot of people have had to go through troubles, but I I hear I've had my determination to keep the Sabbath cause conflict.
oh
In
sure,
the church I used to go to, a couple of jobs that I wouldn't keep, and but I don't regret it at all. It
no,
works out. Like well, just about anybody you talk to, they make a lifestyle change so that they can do the Ten Commandments,
yeah,
and and it works out. It works out. It always. I don't. Everybody that I know, maybe I don't know everybody, but people that have started keeping the Sabbath, they've had to step across lines that they thought would cost them a whole bunch. And most of the stories I hear, Abba comes right in there and rewards them for obeying him.
yes,
mhm.
Yeah, I
And
agree. How did you, Charles? How did you come to the Sabbath? Like, what was your path from your initial religion or whatever?
Your church.
it's a little bit of a long story. I'll shorten it best I can.
Sure.
And when I was 7 years old, my dad started going to the Worldwide Church of God
Oh,
because he stood out in a field one day and told God, I just want to know what's right. Just show
yeah.
me what's right. I'll do it, but I just want to know. So
Mhm.
anyway, he ended up started keeping Sabbath. I'd already been baptized in the Calvary Missionary Baptist Church, I think it was, in
Wow.
Dumas, Arkansas. Yeah,
Yeah.
I was 6 when I did that. But
Wow.
anyway, when I was 7, well, yeah, uh, this could get stretched out way too long. Let's talk about the Sabbath. So we went to Worldwide Church of God, kept the feast at Big Sandy, Texas, and all that for years and years, and then my dad got kicked out of right about the time it split. He got kicked out. He ran some drug dealers off our property with a shotgun, and
Nice.
preacher told him he couldn't come back to church until he got the murder out of his heart.
Oh my
So
God.
yeah, so it probably didn't go real good. My dad told him if you had brought drugs to my children, I'd shoot you too. And, so that probably didn't help with his being able to stay invited.
Yeah.
Right.
My dad was a lineman. He used to win pole climbing contests and stuff. He, built like wide and thick at the top, and then these meat legs that he had for climbing poles. He's a tough bird.
Wow.
Anyway, so anyway, when he quit, I quit more or less, and
Wow.
then I went out. I graduated high school, went in the military, went to college, went back in the military, and got out and um, did a teaching job and an apprenticeship job and all that stuff. I didn't even think about the Sabbath for years and years and years.
Yeah.
And then I got kicked out of another church for another reason. Anyway, kind of runs in the family, I guess.
Yeah.
So I started trying to keep the Sabbath, and it's like, okay, well, this isn't working. I'm not overcoming my sins or my bad nature or nothing. So I decided to get back into reading the Bible, and that was about, I guess, 10 years ago, 11, 12. I don't even know. It's been a while. And yeah, there's jobs laws. Don't trade your coworkers for them to pull your Saturday duty, and you'll pull their next 2 Sunday duties.
Yeah.
You just can't win in some places.
Yeah.
But anyway, so yeah, there's a cost to it. You didn't think it's going to be free.
Yeah.
You know, giving up adultery is not free.
No.
And quit stealing. That's not free. You're not going to have those goody old stolen goods. So it's we've been told to live our life this way. So getting right back to the Decalogue.
Yeah.
The reason I ended up in this group is because I started looking for the 10 Commandments to put it on my doorpost.
Wow.
And if it had not been for me looking for that, then I would have never come across I would have never come across Ross Nichols. Plain and simple.
Wow.
That's amazing. Are
That's
you going to
great.
be at the conference this year?
Yes, ma'am.
Oh,
Yeah.
nice.
He's going to meet in the house.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
Okay,
Well,
cool.
that is
Awesome.
so good. Can't wait to meet y'all and have some talks about this, because I think that when we all speak of how we got to where we're at, it's not all the same, but it's very similar types of
Themes,
issues,
yeah.
because in the end, we wanted to find the truth of what God really wanted. And that's, we're willing to give up everything for that. You know, and that's and when you're at that level, it's I think things are open to you. I also think we're not shown things until we're ready to receive them in a certain amount. Because I don't know, I've read through many Bible passages. I just read over them, and then next thing you know, we're doing a horizontal study in the book, and it's like, it said that. I can't believe it said that, right? And that's the thing that I find amazing is that yeah, the book said that, and you know, when I think Ross talked about this. You don't want to trade one form of fundamentalism for another, because that really, ruins things for you. And I think it's you can get too much into the details, and it's those 10, and you got to remember to do those. It's very, very difficult for us as people to follow the 10 all the time in certain ways, because you get sloppy and you forget or whatever. And Sabbath is one of those. We've been through very conservative view of the Sabbath to very liberal view, and now we're in a good place with the Sabbath where we just truly enjoy it. And what it says in the book of Isaiah about those that observe the Sabbath. And I think there's a special place for those because it's an important aspect. There's other commandments we're going to go through, but I like to just kind of focus on one of the 10 and each of these weeks, and remember it. I want to say one other thing, Charles. When I wrote down the 10 commandments from the Moses Scroll, or shortened versions, for the first show, which went better because the very first one went good because it was. But writing them down, it kind of dawned on me. I mean, it was like I wrote it out. Oh my God!
Yeah.
Just
I
as
gotta
like,
show you something.
yeah. You got something you're going to show us?
Oh yeah. I've got to. Well, I ain't got to, but come on, man. I've got to live up to my unorthodoxical brand here.
Yeah,
So
sure.
talking
Sure.
about going into the ditches and stuff, and
Yeah.
it's like people shouldn't follow me. I look like a drunk. I've been off in every ditch, and think the ones behind and in front of me too, probably. But anyway, so I got off in this one ditch, man. I started wearing zits, but I didn't have any zits, so I went and got this rope, and it's got white and blue strings in it. And I pulled out all the synthetic strings, and I've got this. So I made my own zits, right?
Yeah.
So I used to be religious. I would not go outside without my zits hanging on my belt loops.
Okay.
Wow.
But I just wouldn't, because that was my ditch,
Yeah.
unorthodoxical. So I don't know where they are anymore, because let me show you this.
Okay. He's coming on.
Wrong one.
All right.
Wrong one. Here we go. Here we go. Zits are supposed to bleed blue, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
There they are.
What's that?
That's the 10 Commandments, it looks like.
Oh, you wrote them out.
Yeah. It's like several other people. We had a discussion about it. There's several people. I was going to do 3x5 cards, but then I found this little little blue.
Yeah. That's beautiful.
So anyway, so there's it's missing something though. When you did the Shema tonight, I don't have that written in here. I have got to modify my Zitzi.
Yeah.
Well, my blue notebook, whatever you want to call it.
No, it's okay. No, it's remembering the commandments of our Creator, and He's told us that we should have these upon us all the time, and that this is a beautiful thing. That's His way and not our way. And for me to write them down, it was I didn't expect it to hit me like it did. I was writing them and I started to cry. I'll be honest with you. I'm like, I think I was thinking, can you imagine? Because I just finished the Moses scroll again. Can you imagine this? When the Almighty calls Moses up to give him this Decalogue, and Moses is waiting to hear what is God going to say, and God tells him these 10 issues,
Profound.
these profound issues on how you're going to live your life that would change the world, especially if we followed them, would change the world. And that to me, I can't imagine the moment when the Almighty spoke to Moses and said, I am Elohim, your Elohim. You will have no other Elohim before me. And you're like, oh, okay. And then, remember the Sabbath day, honor your father and mother. You will not murder. You will not bear false witness, on and on. And it's just, you can't argue with it. It's just perfection. And it's the basis for society. I mean, he unlocked something so beyond us as humans. I can't imagine that moment, that when Moses actually heard it in his own ears. That to me is what started to get me all like Betty, starting to cry. Anyways,
Yeah.
thanks for sharing, Charles. And we'll have a lot more to say, and it's going to be a great meeting. I know that Ross is working very hard. I think this is one of the most successfully organized annual meetings that we've been involved with, and that's what I think's beautiful, for all of us.
Planning ahead.
Yeah. Some of these things, Libby says, writing them makes them personal and commits them to your mind, heart, and soul. I think that's true. And I think also that the idea is that we remember them, and they're on our mind, on our doorpost, and our, they can be
Forehead.
here. They don't have to be in a box. They should be inside this thing, and remember that, and so I just felt like having the Sabbath meeting with people also gets us, because we're all alone up here, and we have a few people, a friend, and then my brother, and Patty and I, and the rest of everyone else has died off, that used to come. But we had a little group at one time. But anyways, it's just so nice to meet all of you and these different stories. They become friends for life, like Ross and Ronnie Fulcher, and
Betty.
Betty has become a friend for
now
life.
everyone,
We
all of
we,
you
we
now.
we met Lee and Pam Stoll, Ralph Bunton,
Miriam.
Becky Bunton, Morgan on there. I see we've known him for years.
Ralph. You said Ralph.
Sue, and we hope to meet more people, because they're
It's like you're our family.
yeah,
now.
there's just not many people like that. And like I said, it's just great to have the Sabbath start off with people. And, we're going to be ready for Mr. Ross tomorrow morning, 10:30 Central Time. And then that talk after that. So we are spending a lot of time on the Sabbath contemplating the Almighty. And that's what we should be doing. David wrote the Psalm, and so I'm excited about that. It's a great thing. And like I say, I want to say one other thing. Ross and Seth they're relentless in their efforts, and I really want to support them.
And they're the ones that created this place for us to meet here.
We kind of got onto this, but then Seth really got into it and has arranged it in a way that really works for us and can communicate. And Ross has done so much. He can run reruns of his teachings, and they still seem like they're brand
fresh,
new.
Yeah.
And so you got to give them credit. And the people that saved United Israel were people like Ronnie Fulcher, Jim Tabor, Dennis Jones, Ralph and Becky Button, Timothy Thompson. They all helped save it. But I think, you see Ross taking on. And my last thing I wanted to say tonight is that I hope we find young people to bring them in and see that religion doesn't have to be, people hate organized religion, and we're loosely organized, but we're not really organized that well. And that's good, because it all changes for us. And I'm just very grateful to know Ross and Seth, and his wife Bridget. We've been to Israel together, and it's been a great thing. And I'm hoping that Ross comes with us in
May.
in May. He's going to try to meet us over there. I hope that works out. And like I say, at the end of the day, we want people to carry on after we're gone. If the world lasts that long, I don't know. The way things are going, sometimes, I never thought the end was even near. But boy, when I turn on the television, it seems like the world's turned upside down. And I don't know how you all feel about that, but I was born in the 50s, so I have a little different view. I went through some good years in the U.S. My mom and dad did, but it's crazy. People aren't wanting to be men and women anymore, and it's just turned into the lack of respect and
the hate. It's
the
just so
hate.
sad to see so much hate
Yeah.
out there.
We used to talk about things like philosophy or politics and just agree to disagree. But now they look down at you if you have a different view, and I hope that Jehovah comes soon. Zechariah 14, Jehovah that's coming back, I think.
Definitely.
It says the Yud He Vav He will stand over Israel, and I will call that. To me, that's it. Anyways, I just want to say to y'all, thank you for coming.
Thank you.
I think we're going to take a Sabbath. I'm a little tired. We're going to take a Sabbath break and see you all tomorrow at 10:30 Central Time. And we love all of you. Thank you all, and God bless
Thank you for coming, and we'll see you next
Shabbat.
Shabbat here.
Yeah, but we're going to see you
Shalom.
tomorrow.
Too, yeah.
Shabbat Shalom. Thank you, Charles.
Shabbat shalom.
Thank you. Shalom. Yeah, I
Bye-bye.
love all y'all.
Thank
Love
y'all.
you all too.
Bye-bye.
Bye bye.